firmly believed they had scrubbed it all away. That if they polished the image enough, rewrote the story enough times, and repeated it confidently on podcasts, Netflix shows, and magazine covers, the past would simply dissolve. For years, Meghan Markle's team sold one carefully crafted narrative. The struggling actress broke, grinding, fighting Hollywood on pure talent alone. A woman surviving on hope, hustle, and an almost broken car. But the internet doesn't forget, and secrets don't disappear, they wait, quietly, patiently, until someone powerful enough decides to pull the thread. And this time, it wasn't a tabloid, it wasn't a bitter family member, it wasn't some anonymous blogger screaming into the void, it was Joe Rogan, the biggest podcaster on the planet, broadcasting from Austin, Texas, with millions listening, and without even trying, he allegedly stepped on the one landmine Meghan Markle has spent years and millions desperately trying to keep buried. And once that landmine exploded, the internet went feral.
Yeah, damn, we did some bad stuff.
She's half black.
And then the wife convinces you to leave the royal family. Like, I'm out. I don't need you guys. Which is crazy, because don't you just get free money?
Dude, give me my allowance.
What do you get when you're a royal?
You get a stipend.
You get a stipend.
What's
get a
the
bunch
stipend?
Of cash.
Like,
I'm sure it's
you
$1
spend
million
on
a
anything
month.
you want?
Yeah, what about the countesses? Do they get?
Well, you know what's going on. Someone wanted a lot of attention, and now they got it.
That was the whole episode.
That was the ep.
Yeah.
That was the premise.
Is that what it
They're
was?
like, we want privacy, and they keep going on every magazine.
Yeah.
Be a regular person.
Yeah.
Go get a job in an office.
It would have been nice if they told their grandmother so that she didn't have to find out about it on the news. I thought that was kind of a
The Queen?
spotted dick move, but yeah.
Spotted dick.
yeah.
The Queen.
The Queen.
She found out on Twitter.
Twitter.
Has Prince Harry left the throne?
That is a remarkably accurate
Thank you.
voice.
I've worked hard at it. Wasn't there some speculation that she was on Epstein's yacht at one point in time? There was like photos with her and Prince Andrew way back in the day when she was like in her early 20s.
Wow.
World Time magazine should have been.
No, Meghan Markle beat me.
God. How if it's most influential, there should be there's no debate. Nobody's even in the same category as you.
I don't know. I don't think about it. I try not to. It's a little complicated.
I'm thinking about it, though.
I really shouldn't be influential.
We haven't touched on Harry and Meghan yet. God.
That's the big distraction. Doesn't it make sense?
Well, it probably makes sense because, I don't know that he's the sharpest tool in the box, and he's probably thinking we can make a lot more money if but they're not supposed to make any money off of being a member of the royal family, and yet they've trademarked apparently sort of their brand, Duke and Duchess of Sussex, and so.
Thank you, Prince Harry, at least for that.
This is what the Queen gets, but her grandchildren's money isn't public.
Oh my God! The Queen received $58 million free of tax.
She's so she found out on TV, but they want to be financially independent. They trademarked Duke and Duchess of Sussex in a variety of different ways, apparently, and she's going to go back to doing whatever she did. And
it's that little American hussies he's hooked up with.
They thought they had wiped the internet clean. For years, Meghan Markle's team carefully sold a story about her life before royalty. A struggling actress, broke, grinding, fighting her way up on pure talent. But the internet doesn't forget, and secrets only stay buried until someone big enough decides to dig. While Meghan is busy launching another Netflix lifestyle project and selling authenticity, something exploded in Austin, Texas that allegedly cracked her entire story wide open. This isn't tabloid gossip. This isn't a bitter relative. This time, it's Joe Rogan, the most powerful podcaster on the planet with over 14 million listeners per episode, reportedly stepped straight on the one landmine Meghan has spent years and millions trying to keep buried. Now, the internet is on fire over what people are calling the Yacht Girl exposure. And for the first time ever, Meghan Markle is facing someone she can't sue, can't silence, and can't control. What happens when the biggest podcaster on earth pulls a thread that was never meant to be touched? And that's the nightmare scenario. Because when Joe Rogan talks, it doesn't stay contained. It detonates. Clips get cut, screenshots fly, comment sections explode. And suddenly, the story Meghan thought she had locked down forever is being examined frame by millions of people who feel like something never quite added up.
It seems like that lady is a temptress. She's a siren. She's lured him into the rocks.
I haven't heard that term in a long time. She's a harlot. Almost.
She's well, harlot's bad, right? She's just powerful. But it's also very strange that he was, I mean, essentially infiltrated by a very ambitious actress. You know, I mean, she used to be on Deal or No
infiltrated?
Deal. She was one of the Deal or No Deal ladies.
The way it works? Is he
I
infiltrated
think so.
or was she infiltrated?
This wasn't about gossip photos. This was about timelines, about money, about years that simply don't make sense when laid next to the image she sold the world. What we're seeing right now is something the Sussexes have never dealt with before. This isn't just about awkward photos. It's about a timeline that falls apart, money that doesn't add up, and missing years that clash hard with the struggling actress story we were sold. And that's exactly what allegedly sent Meghan's PR team into full panic mode. Because to understand why this is a disaster for the Sussex brand, you only have to look at one thing: the timeline Joe Rogan reportedly put under the spotlight. Because once you look at that timeline, the cracks are impossible to ignore.
You can see that Joe Rogan is a bit. He's reading his notes at some point. He has notes on Meghan Markle. That is odd. And then he turns and looks at his producer.
We're talking about the years 2014 to 2016. In Meghan's own interviews and on her Archetypes podcast, she described this time as pure struggle, broke, hustling, barely surviving. She talked about driving a beat-up car with broken doors, fighting to pay union fees, and scraping by in Hollywood. It's a classic rags to riches story meant to make you relate to her. But the photos that just went viral tell a completely different story. A story of serious money, elite access, and high society circles. And those photos didn't whisper. They screamed.
Meghan Markle, as previously having been a quote yacht girl, there have been more revelations going viral from the past. And I want to show you this. Claims this has now been going viral this week, Lady C.
After Rogan's alleged comments, social media exploded with images of struggling Meghan relaxing on massive super yachts in the Mediterranean. This isn't a carnival cruise. These are private yachts in Monaco, one of the most expensive places on earth. And in one photo that spread within hours of the podcast drop, Meghan looks completely at ease, champagne in hand, surrounded by older, wealthy men.
Yachter, I don't know how to pronounce that. Oh, whatever. An actress or model, typically female, who supplements her income. Supplements her income? That sounds like OnlyFans, right? By, oh my God, P herself. No, not P herself, but you know the word. Selling the nookie. That's just me. Herself on yacht owned by millionaires or billionaires. The term yachting, however, has been generalized to include not just that on yachts, but sex for pay with wealthy men no matter the venue.
Not casting directors, not struggling artists, not people scraping rent together, who definitely aren't casting directors. The question Rogan reportedly raised, and the millions are now asking, is simple. How does a broke cable TV actress get invited to that table? These aren't trips you book on Expedia. Access to these yachts is invite only. The gap between I couldn't fix my car door and I spent summers hopping islands on a billionaire's floating palace is so extreme it breaks belief. The internet doesn't hate a hustle. It hates a hypocrite. And right now, those photos look like visual proof that the struggle story may have been completely fake. And that's where panic set in. Because people don't mind ambition. They don't mind reinvention. But they do not tolerate being gaslit. That's when the conversation turned darker, quieter, more uncomfortable. To understand the panic in Montecito right now, you have to understand what yachting really means in the entertainment world. This is a part mainstream media is scared to touch, but it's exactly what Rogan allegedly dragged into the spotlight. And once that word enters the conversation, yacht girl, it changes everything. Because in Hollywood, that phrase isn't about sailing. It's code, a whispered industry term for a transactional world built on NDAs, private jets, and ultra wealthy men who don't leave paper trails. Today's main topic, the yacht girl. The Yacht Girl storyline. Full disclosure, I do think Harry is a wonker. Joe Rogan. Well, he seems to be. It's like, I guess he has. Look at his body language. The body language of a wonker. They also discuss Meghan Markle's days as a yacht girl. And if that world was part of her past, even loosely, it detonates her current brand. Because the image she sells today is built on feminism, independence, and moral authority. And nothing collapses that faster than the suggestion that access and power came through wealthy men, not merit. And here's where the damage spreads straight to Prince Harry. Because Harry didn't just marry Meghan, he wrapped his entire post-royal identity around protecting her, fighting the press, suing newspapers, demanding security, standing between her and what he believed were lies. But what happens when the damage doesn't come from tabloids, but from her own past? What happens if the photos aren't fake? If the timelines don't align? If the story he believed is the same story the public is now questioning? Suddenly, Harry isn't the rescuer. He's the mark. And that flips everything. And that's only the beginning. And this is where the story stops being just about Meghan and turns into something far more humiliating and far more dangerous for Prince Harry. Because imagine waking up one day and realizing the woman you burned bridges, family, and a monarchy for may not be who you thought she was. Imagine discovering that the fairy tale origin story you defended with lawsuits and speeches is now being torn apart not by tabloids, but by millions of ordinary people doing math. And more importantly, how her curated public image should be. Harry really apparently just wants time alone, doesn't want to be filmed, doesn't want to be put on social media, but has no choice. That line hits harder now. Because suddenly, Harry looks trapped. Trapped in a story he didn't write, defending a narrative that may never have been fully true. And the cruel irony? He built his entire post-royal identity around the idea that the media lies, but what happens when the truth hurts more than the headlines ever did? And then there's the one name that never disappears. The one constant shadow in Meghan Markle's life. While fathers vanish, friends vanish, in-laws vanish, one man stays glued to her side like a permanent fixture. Marcus Anderson. Marcus Anderson. Marcus Anderson is very unique in the Meghan Markle Disposable Friend series because Marcus is indispensable. Without Marcus Anderson, that Meghan Markle wouldn't have the level of global fame that she enjoys now, or infamy, depends how you look at it. But I really don't think she would be in the position she's in without Marcus Anderson. That's not a compliment, that's a warning. Because Marcus isn't just a friend. He isn't just a confidant. He was the global membership director at Soho House, the ultimate gatekeeper to elite spaces. The man who decided who got access to power, money, yachts, and influence. The bridge between obscurity and ultra wealth. Her father is gone. Her childhood friends are gone. Her royal in-laws are gone. Jessica Mulron is gone. But Marcus stays. Why? Because insiders believe Marcus knows everything. He knows where the bodies are buried. That's why his presence matters now more than ever. Because when the yacht photos resurfaced, there was one detail people couldn't ignore. A photo from 2014 resurfaced with the yacht images. Meghan and a friend thanking Marcus for hooking it up. Hooking what up? A reservation or an introduction, a dinner invite, or access to men who own floating palaces worth hundreds of millions? And Marcus is still there, still traveling with them, still living near them, still inseparable. That's not nostalgia, that's leverage. He is like a parasite always lurking in their shadow. No normal family has a constant third wheel, male or female, leeching onto their every move. Marcus is practically glued to them. And this is where the narrative flips completely. Because if Marcus was the connector, the facilitator, the quiet architect behind the scenes, then Harry wasn't the hero of the story. He was the prize. Matchmaker for the two idiots is now in the press. And I thought the matchmaker for the cargo, allegedly, wasn't it her pimp, Marcus Anderson? And once people see Harry not as a rescuer, but as the final acquisition in a long climb, the brand collapses overnight. Because romance sells, but manipulation repels. And then comes the Rogan effect. This is where Meghan's usual playbook completely fails. When a normal newspaper runs a story, Meghan's lawyers can fire off cease and desist letters. They can scare editors and shut stories down. Joe Rogan doesn't play that game. Joe Rogan doesn't answer to royal correspondence. He doesn't answer to palace pressure. And most importantly, he can't be bullied into silence. And here's the legal nightmare Meghan's team is facing behind closed doors. They can't sue him. Because in America, defamation law is brutal for public figures. To win, she'd have to prove not only that the claims are false, but that Rogan knowingly lied with intent to harm. And worse, a lawsuit opens discovery, emails, texts, financial records, travel receipts, bank transfers from 2014 to 2016. A lawsuit would trigger discovery. That means Meghan would be forced to hand over emails, texts, and financial records from 2014 to 2016 to prove the claims aren't true. That's the nuclear option, and no serious lawyer would ever recommend it. So they're frozen. Deny it and amplify it. Stay silent and let it harden into truth. Checkmate. Inside the Sussex camp, the mood is reportedly pure panic. Sources say Meghan's team is frozen because there is no good move. And while Montecito stays silent, the internet does what it always does, it investigates. TikTok explodes. Twitter turns forensic. People zoom in on sunglasses reflections, match yacht names to ports, compare Instagram dates to flight records. Within hours of the alleged comments, TikTok and Twitter were on fire. The Streets effect kicked in hard. This isn't hate. This is betrayal. Former supporters saying, "I defended her for years." Quiet fans realizing the story doesn't add up. They're filled with former supporters saying, "I defended her for years." But this doesn't add up. And once that middle ground disappears, it's over. Because a celebrity brand doesn't die from critics. It dies when believers walk away. And now everything Meghan does feels fake. Every interview sounds scripted. Every smile feels calculated. Every tear feels rehearsed. Because once people suspect manipulation, they don't listen anymore, they hunt. And it makes every interview feel fake because viewers are no longer listening. They're hunting for cracks. And here's the final brutal truth. You can buy awards. You can hire elite PR firms. You can even marry a prince. But you cannot buy authenticity. You can buy awards. You can hire elite PR teams. You can even marry a prince. But you cannot buy authenticity. That's why this moment matters. Because the yacht photos going mainstream didn't just revive old rumors, they shattered the victim narrative entirely. You can't claim persecution while living in unexplained luxury. You can't preach empowerment while hiding the ladder you climbed. The yacht photos going mainstream changed everything. This is the moment the victim narrative stops working. And now the silence from Montecito is deafening. No denial. No clarification, just quiet while the internet roars louder by the second. As the internet zooms in on every pixel of those photos, the real question isn't whether Meghan will respond. It's whether her brand can survive the truth. Because once the internet sees something, it never forgets. And this time, no amount of reinvention can erase it. Can erase it. Can erase it.